Folks, I have the latest, most up-to-date market report for week ending July 19th. Now, I'm going to talk about Vaughan first, then I'm going to talk about what's going on in the Toronto market. You won't believe what's going on. I really appreciate your comments, so let's get the conversation going below. Subscribe, ring the bell so you're reminded when these new videos come up. Okay, let's get started. Talking about Vaughan, first of all, and this is just for Vaughan freehold properties. I'll get the condos in a second. Well, average sold price has jumped way up from where it was the previous week. Now, I'm tracking these on a weekly basis. So on a weekly basis, we can expect things to go up and down a little bit. And they have been going down over the last few weeks. But last week, they jumped way up. Sales are up a bit also, and we are basically on par to where we were at the beginning of March before we went into this health crisis. We are almost 10% above average sold price where we were last year for the same week ending July 19th. Sales are a bit more than they were now. We've been, for the longest time, now the orange is this year, 2020, the blue is last year, and we've been behind as far as sold freehold properties most of these months here, but the last few weeks we've been ahead of where we were last year, and 25 of these 63 sold at list price or more. So if you've been on the market buying, you've got action, you're competing with other buyers. Well, in the Vaughan market, at least 40% of the time. Last year, it was 30% of the time. Wait till I show you what's going on in the Toronto market. The listings, we now, for a couple of weeks, are ahead of where we were last year. And this past week, July 19th, we're way ahead of new listings compared to where last year. Now, I don't know if you recall, but a few months ago, I did say that this summer is going to be the new spring. I was right on that prediction. It's getting really, really exciting out there with volume and activity. And when we look at months of inventory, we dropped a little bit, and well, months of inventory is behaving how it should. Last week, it kind of was working opposite of when months of inventory drop, prices are supposed to go up. And I said, hey, sometimes there's a bit of a delay. Well, you know, thank you that it actually happened the way I said it would, and that's the way it's supposed to work. So price of inventory dropped, months of inventory dropped, average sold price increased. Now this was for Vaughan freehold. Looking at Vaughan condos, and I'm not going to spend too much time on Vaughan condos just because volumes, these are the sales, they're not so high. So one high sale or a few low sales really can change the numbers, but we basically dropped a little bit on average sold price. We're still higher when it comes to average sold price by 13% from where we were last year. Sales are still behind last year's numbers, but new listings, we have a lot more condos coming onto the market than we did last year. And months of inventory, well, months of inventory dropped. Prices should go up, but Vaughan condos, the volume's just not there for us to get a really good reading. Okay, so now the exciting part, Toronto. What's happening in the big Toronto market? Well, price has jumped way up. Sales jumped up, prices jumped up. We've got more properties, 2 extra, so 40 properties sold at $2 million or more, and 180 of these sold at list price or more. We're still off the mark from where we were at the beginning of March when we went into the health crisis, but we've never really kind of got back to where we were. There was just one time over here in June that we kind of peaked at around the same price, but we've never really gone up. But we've been dropping for the last few weeks, so to see it bounce back up again is a good sign. We're way ahead of where we were last year. We're 14% higher when it comes to average sold price than the same week last year. But look at this. Last year we sold 27 properties at $2 million or more. This year we sold 40 properties at $2 million or more. Now there's different ways of looking at that and coming up with analysis. Well, you can easily say the reason average sold price is higher is because we've had more properties this year versus last year selling at $2 million or more. And you'd be right in your assumption in saying that. You can say, well, average sold price has gone up. That's why there's more properties selling at $2 million or more. And you could be right there also. But overall, this is what's happening. We are doing better than we did last year. And not just for this 1 week, but for many weeks in a row, we've been doing better average sold price than we were last week. When it comes to sales, we were really close the week before, but last week we did far more sales than we did the week before. So I said 180 of these sold at list price or more. That's 57%. So more than half of all well over half of all properties sold, and these are freehold properties sold in Toronto. You're competing, there's multiple offers, or it's being sold quick, fast, right away. There's a lot of action out there. And if you're in the market, you know, by in the market, I mean, well, if you're a realtor, you know this. If you are a seller, you're seeing this. And if it's not happening with you, it's your price point. You've got the wrong price, or you've got the wrong realtor that's not marketing the property properly, not being shown, not visually displaying. First impression is not when people get to your house. First impression is online these days, so the marketing has to be on par. New listings. Well, for a couple weeks now, we've got more listings going out there than we did the same time last year. So sales are higher than where they were last year. New listings are higher than where they were last year. Prices are higher than where they were last year. I'm still talking to people telling me, ooh, things must be really bad because of the health crisis. Not here, not today. Tomorrow is another story, but it hasn't been bad for a while. Months of inventory. Months of inventory are extremely low for Toronto freehold properties. We're down to 1.4 months, and that has shot up the average sold price. Let's look at City of Toronto condos. Also, price has gone up. Now, price has been going up for the last couple of weeks. Sales are higher. 24 of those condos sold over $1 million. So prices for condos are getting stronger. And when we look at where we were when we came in at the beginning of March, we're basically on par for the same price. So we've gained a lot of ground since then. We were much slower over here in April. We are 14.8% higher when it comes to average sold price than we were last year. When we look at sales, well, we've been off the mark. Remember, orange is this year, 2020. We've been lower for a while now from where our numbers were last year, but 44% of those sold at list price or more. So there's still a lot of action going on in Vaughan condos. Lots of listings though. There's lots of condos for sale. I'm just going to go back to the previous slide. With all those listings, I'm surprised, because there's choices out there, I'm surprised that so many are selling at list price or more. That tells me when we have so many more listings and there's still activity and action and there's still multiple offers, it tells me that the demand is still way stronger than the amount of listings that are being put out there. And when we look at months of inventory, well, this is another story that tells me the demand is stronger than the amount of listings that are out there. Months of inventory has dropped. So prices have been increasing and months of inventory has dropped. That's the most up-to-date information as of July 19th. I know for a lot of you listening to this, it's not what you expect. If you want to comment below, I'm really excited to hear your comments. If you're telling me something about these numbers, happy to hear it, but understand nothing on this chart is a prediction. It is what's actually happened. If I start talking about July 20th, the day after this date, then it starts to be a prediction. But everything on here is straight out of the Toronto Real Estate Board It's statistical. It's all history now. We can verify all these numbers. My name is Santo Sessa with Remax Premier. Especially now with what's going on in this market, you need a very strong realtor that knows what's going on. Give me a call if you have any questions with your own personal real estate. Have a great day.